Hi. All right, I need a little bit of assistance. Can you hear me? I'm on my own for reasons that I'll explain in a minute, but I really need someone to let me know whether or not you can hear me. I'm using a new setup tonight, and I have not yet tested whether or not my microphone is working. So, are you here? Then let me know if you're. Let me know in the comments. So tonight it's just me because Jen unfortunately is not feeling very well, so we have had to kind of reschedule things around a bit, so it's just me, little old me. I did investigate seeing if someone else could join us this evening, but it appears that everybody is feeding their babies to sleep, which I think is a common occurrence at this time of night. I've still got one child asleep as well upstairs, well, awake upstairs, hopefully asleep very soon. So tonight, the plan is that we talk all things carrying in warm weather. So we'll talk about what kinds of carriers you might use, what you might change about the carrier that you're normally using, whether you might think about hats and clothing and all of those things. We're happy to touch on all of that. A lot of the questions that we get are often about what should my baby wear in the sling in different weathers. So that's kind of what we want to talk about tonight, and what I need from you guys is I need you to put your questions in the comments. What would you like me to answer? What burning questions do you have about carrying? Please do let me know, and I will try and answer them. So, well, today hasn't actually been very warm, so we've had not a great day for examples today, but in the last few weeks we've had some much hotter weather, and I think from looking at the forecast we're due some much warmer weather again in the next few days. So I'm hoping that we will be seeing a lot more sunny photos in the next few weeks of our carriers out and about. But one of the things, the most common kind of question that we're asked is about what your baby should wear in the sling when it's hot. And that depends a little bit on whether or not your baby is a newborn, whether they're an older child, and what kind of sling they're in. So for instance, if you've got a newborn in a stretchy wrap where you've got 3 thicker layers over your baby, and you've got a baby who is less able to regulate their temperature, then we'd be suggesting to put less layers or easily removable layers onto your baby. The layers of the sling, they count as clothing layers. So if it's a hot day and you've put 2 or 3 layers on your baby and then you put them in 3 layers of stretchy wrap, they're going to get hot. And at the moment, with a newborn in particular, overheating is probably a much more dangerous prospect than them being too cold. So I think what we'd suggest generally is that keep layers to the minimum, particularly if you're using a stretchy or something with lots of layers or that's thickly padded. It's not a bad thing for your baby to go in and just a nappy, and did quite a lot of that when it was very warm with both of my children, that you'd stick them in and just a nappy and make sure that their head was covered. Then no one was too hot. So yeah, definitely thinking about the layers that your baby's wearing and the layers in the sling as well. I'm really hoping that you can hear me properly. I'm having a bit of a panic about it. Okay, so if you've got any questions about what your baby should wear, again, stick them in the comments and I'll answer specific questions as far as possible. So, hi Claire, I'm waving. Can you hear me? Is that all good? The kind of next most common question that we get is that, thanks Hannah, is that people want to know whether or not there's a best sling for cool weather. Oh, I think I'm getting comments through really like behind. There's a delay. Sorry. So people want to know if there's a cooler, like the best sling as well for cool weather, for hot weather. And again, like everything, it depends on you. It depends what kind of carrier or sling that you like to use. It depends on where you're going and what kind of heat you're expecting. It depends how old your child is and what you're going to do with them. So again, for instance, in the UK, it very rarely gets hot enough that you need something really cool. You know, most people are fine in most carriers in our weather. It's unusual for us to start getting up to 30 degrees. But if you are going to, you know, southern Spain on your holiday, then maybe other options would be a sensible choice at that point. So carriers that are good for hot weather are things that are thinner, that are lighter weight, that have potentially got gaps at the side. So again, something like a stretchy wrap where you've got lots of layers and no kind of gaps for air to flow into the side of a stretchy, that's probably not your best choice. Whereas something like an Integra Solar, where it's a simple, lightweight carrier with thin, breathable fabric, where there is room at the side for air to come in between you and your baby, that's a great option for hot weather. And there are loads and loads of carriers on the market now that have been made for kind of hotter climates. And that's true for anything as well. I mean, you can adjust almost anything that you're using to kind of suit a warmer climate. A lot of people prefer carriers that where there's less of the carrier kind of touching you as well, where you've got sweaty patches on your arms from where the straps are sitting, or big wide waistbands. Those can get uncomfortable when you're hot and sweaty. So carriers like Ombahimos or again, like the Integra, where there's very little kind of waistband against you, can be a great option for comfort for you. So all of these things might involve you getting another carrier, which is fine for some people, or hiring something. Or you can look at what you've got and trying to work with that. So if you're using a wrap, can you use a wrap that has a carry that has less layers? You put one layer over your baby as opposed to two. That might be cooler. If you're using a buckle carrier, can you use them on your back instead of on your front? Often people find back carrying and hip carrying is cooler in the heat than having your baby here on your front. Yeah, and as Kimmy says, ring slings, another great option for summer, because again, you've just got one layer over your baby. Again, they're often slightly off center, so that's often a little cooler as well. So fabulous option for hot days. I love that you're all telling me that you can hear me now. Thank you. It's making me laugh. And hi Jenny, and hi Kimmy, hi Kaylee, hi Jodie, hi Bob, hi Tina. There's loads of you this evening. Thank you. Again, like at any point, if you've got any questions about that you want me to answer, then please do shout. And I will do my very best to answer them, and I will do my very best. So, do you need a special carrier? Ooh. Mesh panelled carriers. I think that it depends on the carrier. I'm great at this. Sorry, Jenny. I think that mesh panelled carriers where you've still got a big, thick waistband against you, and where potentially the mesh panel is only like a small part of the carrier, I don't necessarily think that that makes a lot of difference. Something like the Ismi Breeze or the Je Porte Mon Bébé, where the mesh is a very open mesh and is a much bigger part of the carrier, I think makes more of a difference. I'm a particular fan of the Wooty stretchy wrap as well from We Made Me, for if you love a stretchy and really want something that's cooler in the heat. So I think mesh carriers can be amazing. I don't necessarily think that all mesh carriers are significantly cooler than their counterparts. So again, it depends. If you love your Ergobaby and you want to see if the Ergobaby mesh is cooler for you, then it's definitely worth a try. Yeah. Hi, Stephanie. Have you used a carrier before? Or you used to say, do you normally use a Lullababy? Have you tried the Aria? Is it suiting you? Let me know. So yeah, it depends, and it also depends, Stephanie, where you're off to on holiday. Because again, you know, if you're going somewhere that's got a similar climate to us, you might even be finding your Lullababy. I mean, take it with you. If you're going somewhere like that's really hot, then yeah, you probably want something that's a bit cooler. Oh, I've now lost my train of thought. I'm very good at that. Sorry. This is why I have Jenny normally, because when I get lost, she'll jump in. Loads and loads and loads of brands have brought out cool versions of their carriers now. So if you've got a favourite, brand, it's definitely worth checking to see. And you are getting too hot, it's worth checking to see if they do a cool version, and just seeing if it makes a difference. Like some of them, like the Beko Gemini, the difference between the normal version and the cool version is actually quite amazing. The cool version is not just a mesh panel, it's actually significantly thinner as well, so that does make a big difference. Ooh. How old is your baby, Jodie, if you're off to Bulgaria? And Stephanie, yes, if it's going to be warm in Malta, yes, then I'd try it. Try the Aria, see how you go on. Try it before you go away, because then if you have any problems, you've got that ability to check for something else. Yeah? Make sure you're confident with what you're using if you're going on holiday. Try it before you go. Make sure that you get hold of it a few days before you go, and you can get to grips with it whilst you've still got easy access to help. Hi, Renee. Hi, Tina. Yes, I'll tell you talk about Connector. Don't, get to the airport and then panic because you're not confident using your carrier. Jodie, if you're confident back carrying, or if you're not confident back carrying, I would try now. You probably will find that it is a little cooler to back carry. Hi, Sarah. I'd try it. See if you can get yourself confident, at least having the option there, and then you've got options. You can front carry. If you get too hot, you can back carry and see if it makes a difference. Yeah, hope that helps. Tina, the Connector. So Connector and the kind of newer Integra, the solar versions are significantly thinner. Well, Connectors are fairly thin to start with, but the solars are thinner, and their fabric is more breathable. It's also UV resistant, so a lot of people are quite attracted to that if you're going somewhere hot and you're going to be in kind of direct sunlight a lot of the time. So they're extremely popular in summer. They're like a most hired thing during the summer. They are still really suitable for big kids. I used a toddler solar for a long time with my child, and yeah, I love them. I really rate them. They're very popular, and definitely cooler, and definitely worth a try. They feel a bit more like kind of swimsuit material, maybe, or that. Yeah, it's quite difficult to describe, I think. And Jodie, arms in or out, whatever she wants. It's up to her. As long as the carrier is coming up to her armpits and therefore safe, then she can have her arms in or her arms out, whatever she wants. From a personal perspective, I find arms in more comfortable, and then but I find that they get their arms out when they're awake and then tuck their arms in when they want to go to sleep, and that suits me. Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes if you're using a carrier a lot anyway, then investing in something that's a little cooler can be a great option, Tina. And then you're giving yourself options. You know, you don't have to use one thing the same way all the time. Give yourself some options. Okay, what else do we need to talk about? What should we talk about? Sun safety. So don't forget, if your baby is in the sling, they probably still need a hat on. They probably still need sun cream on. And you probably need to stay in the shade as much as you can. Again, not always practical. Depends where you are and what you're doing. But yeah, keep yourself safe. Keep your baby safe as well. It's still important. Anything that's not covered by the sling needs to be put in the shade or covered in sun cream or both, so that you make sure that everyone stays safe. Equally, be careful with sun cream, and some carriers, sun creams will mark your carriers, mark wraps in particular. So if you're feeling quite, if that's something that you're worried about, get your baby covered in your sun cream and let it dry. Give it 10, 15, 20 minutes before you put them in the sling. Your sun cream also needs that much time to kind of start working, so you need to make sure that you're putting it on in plenty of time before you go out. Just make sure that that's you're confident in what you've put on your baby. Lots of people ask every year for brands of sun cream that don't mark your carriers. I think there's various people have recommended various different brands to me over the years. I have never picked one in particular. Yep, Jenny is right. Brollies make great parasols. Very useful when you've got little ones as well. If you're out and about going to the beach, take a big brolly and a towel. When come out of the sling, put them on the towel under the brolly. You've got like movable shade. It's very useful. And kind of linked to all of this, keep yourself in the shade. Keep yourself covered. If you've got no other option, use something like a muslin and drape it over your baby. So tuck it into the straps of the carrier, tuck it into the top of your wrap, tuck it around the bottom of the wrap to keep the baby's legs covered. Just make sure that you're not kind of sitting in direct sunlight. It will not end well for anyone. And grumpy babies, hot grumpy babies, are not pleasant to be around generally. And kind of related to that, be really aware of how much water, or how much that no one is getting dehydrated. So if your baby is in the sling and it is a hot day outside, they're going to need to drink more than perhaps they would normally. So whether that means breastfeeding, whether that means extra bottles, whether that means water, then make sure that that liquid is going into your baby and going into you as well. You need to be drinking. You need to be keeping yourself cool as well, not just your baby. So I'm just going to have some water. Which brings me on to Sarah's point. What other things can you do to keep yourself cool? The damp muslin. I used to do this one as well. Get just a slightly damp muslin and put it in between you and your baby. So often, see here, I'm going to stand up on this part of your chest here. Put it across here so that you've got sweaty faces against your chest. Quite a lot of people like that. Even a dry muslin, that between you can just help a little bit. Putting the damp muslin between your baby's tummy and you. Again, those points where you've got body contact, and that's where the heat is going to be. Sometimes just having something extra in between you can just help everyone feel a little cooler. Similarly, the little handheld fans. Hannah, she sent me a fabulous photo earlier that I'll share later, that is of one of these handheld fans clipped onto the shoulder of her carrier, blowing at her baby, keeping them cool. It's a fabulous photo. Those are great for just getting a little bit of wind moving, particularly on those days where it's really muggy outside. What else was I going to say? A little bit of splashing water on you. Get water spray, just something just to keep you both a little bit cooler. Some groups, you'll find it if you ask in some groups, some people will recommend using ice packs or cool packs to cool you down. Now, I wouldn't generally recommend this because babies can find it quite difficult to tell you, or babies that can't talk can't tell you what's wrong. So, and cold can hurt if it's left on too long. So I wouldn't recommend tucking ice packs or cool packs onto your baby in any way. Occasionally, you know, passing something cold over your baby to help them cool down might be okay, but I wouldn't tuck them into your carrier, just because it can be difficult to kind of tell when it's uncomfortable for your baby, potentially. But again, I know in places where it's much hotter, this is something that gets recommended fairly regularly. So obviously it works for some people, even if it wouldn't be my first choice of what to suggest. Oh, So after all this, if there aren't any other questions, which I'm keeping an eye on the comments, if you do want to try something cooler but you're not sure what, have a look at our articles on our website. I'll post the links in the comments after we're done. Have a chat to your local sling libraries if you've got them. You can, and I'll post a link to find your local sling library if you don't know where it is. Have a chat to your local sling consultant, see what they've got available that might be cooler. If you haven't got a local library, then come to us. We have got a massive range of different carriers that are great for summer. So different wraps. Some people prefer thinner wraps, for instance, when it's cool. So thinner or different blends, so linen and hemp in the summer. Some people just want to try a mesh carrier for their holiday. We have loads in all of these things available that you can try. We can either just come and hire from us, or we can have a chat with you on the phone. We do 15-minute phone consultations for free, so you can just book one of those in, or we can do longer ones with demos over Skype. So we can definitely aim to help. If you're catching the replay of this later on and you've still got questions, then drop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them over the next couple of days, and then hopefully you will be feeling much more confident about going out and about with your baby when it's warm. So I hope that you found this useful. I know it's just me talking this evening, which is different, and hopefully next month it will be back with me and Jen talking about next month's topic, which I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I will find out and we will tell you. And keep an eye out for all of the things that we're doing on our Facebook page over the next few days. So the rest of this month we will be finishing talking about carrying for holidays, carrying in heat, focusing a little bit on ring slings and panel carriers so that we can show you some videos of those as well. And then obviously we've been talking about the fact that we're off to the Mums Enterprise Roadshow on Wednesday, so I'm sure that we'll do a few videos from that event and show you what we're up to. And I hope you find all of this information useful, and if you need anything further, just drop us a message on our Facebook page or head over to our website, which is itsaslingthing.co.uk, or you can head over and find us on Instagram or on YouTube. There's plenty of ways to get in touch, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you. Good night. Have a lovely evening. Hopefully all of those babies have gone to sleep.